Oh, Canada. It's Canada Day in a bit, and you guys know what that means. Carney said, judge me by Canada Day. Well, it's Canada Day next week. It's time for his report card.
If I may, you are going into process and personnel. I'm going to results. I'm talking about one Canadian economy. I'm talking about getting rid of all the federal...
But those personnel didn't deliver.
No. Please, let me answer the question. Those are real results that will happen or not. We will either pass that legislation or not.
Has he delivered? In this video, I will go through 5 things that Carney promised to deliver by Canada Day. And at the end, I want you guys to give him a score out of 10. I'll reveal my score at the end as well. So let's get into it. Number 1, Carney promised a 1% tax cut for the lowest tax bracket. He promised it would save 2-income households up to $825. That's about $400 a person. Once the actual legislation was tabled, we discovered that an average person would only actually save about $90 on their 2025 income tax because the tax cut only takes effect on July 1st this year. The Parliamentary Budget Office expects that the savings for the average person will rise to $190 next year. That is well short of what Carney promised. It's not even half. So when you promise Canadian households $825, you should deliver $825. $825 was not really doing much to start with, right? It wasn't going to do that much because, as you might know, the price of beef is up 34% this year. Rice is up 14%. Baby formula is up 9%. That 1% tax cut was really only going to cover inflation. It wasn't going to make life more affordable for Canadians anyways. So on this, here's my grade for Carney. I would grade Carney a 5 out of 10 on this particular promise. And I'll tell you why I didn't even go as low as a 3 on this, because it pisses me off when you promise me money and don't deliver the money you promise. So while Carney did not deliver the amount he said he would, he did deliver before Canada Day as he said he would. While this tax cut would only pay for one McDonald's breakfast every month, I guess we'll have to take any money the government gives back. We get taxed the hell as it is, right? Anyways, here's number 2. At number 2, Carney promised one Canadian economy by Canada Day. Now, this one's another one of Carney's cornerstone promises. It's not like Carney came up with this idea of one Canadian economy all on his own. It's been obvious since fucking Confederation that we needed one Canadian economy. Pierre Poilievre actually made a whole production of this on YouTube, talking about how it is easier to sell products to the US than it is to sell to ourselves. It is that obvious. It was obvious when Trudeau was in government and Carney was his advisor. It was obvious when Stephen Harper was in government and Poilievre was a cabinet minister. But Carney is the one who has delivered it. Bill C-5 passed the Senate this week. Part 1 of that bill is the Free Trade and Labor Mobility in Canada Act. It removes federal barriers to the interprovincial movement of goods and the provision of services, and removes barriers to the movement of labor within Canada. Carney said it will be done by Canada Day, and it has been delivered. I only have one concern. Will anything really change, or is it all for show? Because think about it, our interprovincial trade barriers are really just differences in the rules and regulations that exist from one province to the next. So a lot of the interprovincial trade barriers we have in this country are province driven. So yeah, the federal government can take down their own requirements, but really it is on the provinces to make it work. So this part of Bill C-5 is a good show, but I don't know if it will do what people expect. Like, I like the idea, don't get me wrong. Like, I like the idea, but I would like to see what one Canadian economy looks like. I would love to see the opportunities we can create. Here's how I'm going to grade Carney on this promise. On this particular promise, I will grade Carney a 6. He said he would deliver one Canadian economy by Canada Day. Now, I still don't know what that looks like right now. Really, all we know is that he has passed a bill, right? I would need to see more. I need to see more. That said, they delivered it on time, as the Prime Minister said. It's really the second part of that Bill C-5 that has become problematic for Carney. So at number 3, let's talk about that. Nation building projects. So Bill C-5 also contains the Building Canada Act, and that one was quite controversial, mostly because it grants the government sweeping powers to fast-track projects of national interest. Now, in theory, I like this bill. Like, I don't like how long it takes to get things built in this country. If we have to wait another 10 years to get the critical infrastructure we need to meet this economic moment, then we're absolutely doomed. we're doomed, right? I like that they want to find ways to streamline the approval process for projects and get that approval time down to 2 years. Now, the bill met with a lot of opposition from First Nations who feel that the bill could mean projects get forced through their territory without consultation. Environmental groups fear it could mean projects like mines and pipelines could face minimal scrutiny. The Bloc Québécois has had a lot to say about Bill C5 as well. They were sneak dissing McCartney in the House of Commons about it. Even some of McCartney's own Liberal MPs, like Nate Erskine-Smith, pointed out that the bill looked like a power grab that Stephen Harper would be proud of. I'm clearly paraphrasing here. He didn't actually use those exact words, but more or less. But with all the opposition to this bill, I will say, for myself, I like the conviction that McCartney showed here. Because as a young person trying to get ahead in this country, and nowhere in a crisis, we must build this economy, not in 10 years, we must build it now. And this is actually aging well for McCartney because Trump just canceled all trade negotiations with Canada on a whim on Friday. Anyways, that said, on this particular promise, we have a very similar situation to what I said about the One Canadian Economy Act. What does it look like in action? Yeah, you've passed the bill. It's a big, beautiful bill. Pardon the use of those words, but it's a big, beautiful bill. But what does it actually do? Right? The premier spent the last 3 months or so advocating for different nation building projects in their provinces. McCartney, as of yet, McCartney has not announced which projects will make the shortlist, but he has said he will be prioritizing projects that are ready to go. Now, I want to see what that looks like in practice. So for now, I will have to give McCartney maybe a 6.5 here because it is early. I'm leaving myself some room to be positively surprised. But all right, maybe I should give him a 7 because I like the conviction he showed because this bill faced a lot of backlash. He faced a lot of pushback. He got it passed and he got the conservatives to support it. So yeah, I'll give him a strong 7 with the potential to go even higher if they actually get these projects built. At number 4, McCartney promised to increase defense spending. Now, on this topic, it would seem that McCartney is in his say yes to everything era. He announced earlier in June that Canada will meet its 2% NATO defense spending target by March next year. Much of the new $9.3 billion in defense spending that is bringing us to this 2% target is going to allow the military to increase recruitment, give current soldiers a pay rise, and set the stage for major equipment purchases. The idea here is to expand Canada's defense industrial base. Now, I like that. I think it's about time. NATO agreed to that 2% target in 2006. Stephen Harper didn't meet the target. He spent even less than Justin Trudeau did on defense. So look, it is a dangerous time in the world right now, and we have to stand on our own 2 feet as a country. We have to stand on our own 2 feet for a change. So I'm not mad at the fact that McCartney has decided to meet this 2% target in this moment. Also, I'm tired of countries around the world making fun of our military.
We have confidence, full confidence in our defense relationship with the United States, as we do with all NATO partners.
Okay. So you're confident that if you needed them, they would support you.
As they are confident that we would support them if they need us.
Okay, with your tiny military and a lot of broken equipment.
It's not that tiny.
Surprisingly, though, McCartney promised to increase the defense spending to 5% by 2035. And here's where this is a problem for me. Here's where this is a problem. I am worried that McCartney is writing checks he can't cash. How are we going to pay for this? Even the $9.3 billion he promised this fiscal year, where's that money coming from? Is that part of the $500 billion spending bill that McCartney tabled in May? If it is, where is the revenue to help balance the budget? These are things I'll be looking to see when they present a budget in the fall. Don't be surprised if you see a big deficit when they present that budget in the fall. You can save this video and come back to it. You'll say I told you so. Do not be surprised if they present a big, ginormous deficit that nobody expected in the fall. Probably more than the $62 billion that Justin Trudeau tabled last year. So here's how I'm going to grade McCartney on this. I think meeting our 2% defense spending is necessary, and I'm glad he did it. On the other hand, with regards to the economic future of this country, I will say there has not been much transparency about revenue in this government. Now, contrary to popular belief, budgets don't balance themselves. So on meeting this 2% defense spending, I will give McCartney a 7 for recognizing the need for Canada to take responsibility for its own defense. But I think I will knock him down to a 6 because I still haven't seen a budget. So let's move on. At number 5, McCartney promised change. Now, There's no doubt that Mark Carney operates very differently to Justin Trudeau in many respects. I like that he has set these metrics for himself that we can all see and evaluate. He is certainly more focused on growing the economy than Justin Trudeau was. Now, it is too early to tell if he will be more effective than Justin Trudeau. While this approach is different, some things have not changed. Half his cabinet is people from Justin Trudeau's era, for one. Now, that's important because in the first 100 days of Mark Carney's term, some of the incompetence of the Trudeau era has come to bite him in the backside. In his first 100 days, the Auditor General revealed that Canada's purchase of F-35 jets from Lockheed Martin is now expected to cost $27.7 billion. That's almost $9 billion more than the $19 billion that was initially costed for those jets. Here's why this is deeply frustrating for me. The initial estimate of $19 billion just 3 years ago was based on outdated numbers in the first place. Now, thankfully, the procurement minister in charge of that fiasco is no longer in cabinet, but some of them still remain. Some of the people who might have had their fingers in that pie, they still remain in cabinet today. Anita Anand was the Minister of National Defense at the time. She is now the Minister of Foreign Affairs. We know Chrystia Freeland was the Finance Minister at the time. She is now the Minister of Transport and Internal Trade. Anyways, the second bombshell that dropped was the revelation that 31 federal organizations paid out $64.5 billion to GC Strategies, the company that helped develop the Arrive Canada app. Here's what the Auditor General reported about the incompetence of Mark Carney's cabinet. The report said federal organizations are required to monitor the work performed by contractors. However, we noted that the federal organizations frequently disregarded government policies in this area. This included not having records showing which contracted resources performed the work, what was completed, and whether the people doing the work had the required experience and qualifications. So essentially, they were paying out your tax dollars and mine without any record that work was actually done. Now, you might remember that the Arrive Canada app was supposed to cost $80,000 when it was initially costed. It ended up costing $54 million. Now, you would think, as a normal logical thinking person, you would think that somewhere between 80,000 and 54 million, someone would have asked some important questions. But this was a pattern with Trudeau's cabinet. The Auditor General concluded that when it came to the work awarded to GC Strategies, value for money for these contracts was not obtained. So here's my point in all this. Mark Carney, with both eyes open, has chosen these same people. Those are the people we're supposed to trust to spend $500 billion wisely over the next year. Mark Carney has put forward a $500 billion spending bill for this year without tabling a budget. Like, that's actually very similar to what Justin Trudeau spent in his final year in office. Here's my personal opinion. I fully expect they will blow past that $500 billion. Mark Carney promised to spend less and invest more. To me, that sounds like it's all trust me bro politics. Like, I have not seen any evidence that Mark Carney will spend any better than Justin Trudeau did. It's early days, I'll give him that. On whether Mark Carney has actually delivered change, I will have to give him a 6. I think everybody can see he operates differently to Justin Trudeau. If you just closed your eyes and forgot everything you know about Mark Carney, you'd think he was a conservative. That's the way he's been governing. But at the same time, there's a risk that the Liberal machine will fall back into their old habits and ultimately fail to deliver on their own lofty goals. I say all this just to say Mark Carney has talked a very big game from the start. He has delivered some nice shiny bills that don't actually do anything as yet. At the same time, he hasn't delivered a trade deal with the United States. Donald Trump has said he is terminating trade negotiations with Canada effective immediately. They say Trump always chickens out. I guess we'll have to see. He is sending bombers out these days, so I wouldn't count on it. Look, while you can't blame Carney for the unpredictability of Trump, he was elected on being the best negotiator that Canada could send. And right here, right now, I have not seen much progress on that front. Granted, the negotiations are not taking place in public, so who knows what's going on behind the doors. But I have not seen much progress on that front. Also, Mark Carney hasn't delivered much of a tax cut either. $190. That's what he delivered. Now, I hope this doesn't become a pattern with Mark Carney. I hope this pattern of over-promising Canadians only to under-deliver doesn't continue. I hope with all my heart that they start to actually do the things they say they will. Anyways, here's my overall score. I will give Mark Carney a 6 overall on promises delivered before Canada Day. That's just the average of all the 5 scores I gave earlier. Now, I really want to hear from you guys, though. How would you rate Mark Carney on the promises he made on the campaign trail? Has he met your expectations? You guys get in the comments and give him a score. And you know what? I'll aggregate the scores that you guys give him, and I'll let you guys know in another video how everybody has voted. So get your scores in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time. Take care, you guys. Peace.